Hello and welcome to Cinematicon X Mortis, the podcast where we talk about horror movies. I'm your host Kenny and I'm here with Heather.
Hello.
Hello to you as well. So for the first movie that we're going to be talking about with Heather, we're looking at Misery, the film from 1990, directed by Rob Reiner, adapted by William Goldman from the Stephen King novel of the same title, starring Kathy Bates and James Caan. And we're going to be spoiling the whole plot as we talk about it, so, go watch it or don't. I don't care. Do you care, Heather?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't matter really to us whether you watch the film first or not, but if you don't watch it, be aware that we're going to say what happens.
And if you didn't watch it first, why do you care?
Yeah.
Why do you care about this?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll watch, a review of something that I haven't seen just because I like the reviewer.
Dangerous.
So if you really like us, but you don't care about the movie, or I made you listen to this because I'm like, listen to my podcast, please, But really, I don't care. So if I said that to you, you can just turn it off now. That's fine. Anyway, so Misery is a really cool horror movie. What?
Nothing. Go on.
We've watched it several times, both of us, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if I would say it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but I think Kathy Bates' performance is definitely one of the great horror movie performances of all time. And it's really cool that it's as good as it is too, given that it's directed by Rob Reiner, who isn't really known for horror movies.
Yeah, I just realized that actually right now. That didn't really click to me when I was watching it, when his name popped up. But that is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because he did Spinal Tap and The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally. So
right.
He's kind of known for lighthearted comedies.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He went completely the opposite direction.
Yeah, from his earlier work, which is great. I mean, those are some of the classic comedies. So it's not surprising that he could make a great film, but it doesn't seem like it's in his wheelhouse. And then as far as I know, he hasn't gone back to the genre either, which is something that I think is kind of cool about horror. It's one of the things I like about this genre is a lot of the classic movies in the genre are not from people like Wes Craven who just do that. A lot of them are from people who are just sort of dip their toe in once, like The Shining by Kubrick. That's the only horror movie Kubrick ever made. There's a lot of directors like that who are great directors who make a bunch of different things and then they just make one horror movie and it's really interesting. And I think this is one of those. Maybe we should say a little about the plot.
Okay.
So
in case people really didn't watch the movie.
Yeah. So could you give a little
no, that's
summary?
not a good job for me. You go ahead and take that one.
Okay. So this is the story of a writer, Paul Sheldon, who is a writer of romance novels. It's clearly a sort of author insert character for Stephen King, but King writes horror novels. This character writes romance novels. Same difference. And he has just finished up the Misery series of books and is writing now sort of the novel that he really wanted to write, the more personal novel that's not a romance novel. And as he finishes up at the beginning of the film, he drives down a mountain in, Colorado, someplace snowy, and the car...
In a gorgeous Mustang, by the way.
Okay, it's very important.
Fuck off.
And he drives the car right off the road and is rescued by Kathy Bates' character, Annie Wilkes, who turns out is a sort of deranged stalker. She's his number one fan. And instead of taking him to a hospital, she brings him to her house, and he ends up being sort of imprisoned in her house. At first, under the guise that she's just nursing him back to health until the phone lines come back online and the roads are open and she can take him to the hospital. But it increasingly becomes clear that he's not getting out of there unless he can escape. So it's one of these movies where a character is sort of trapped in an environment and has to figure out how do I get out of here? Which I think is a really neat like subgenre. I really enjoy those kind of movies
Like what?
like Cube or Saw or
Oh, yeah.
movies where people are trapped somewhere and they have to try to escape, try to figure out. It's like a puzzle almost.
Saw is like really funny. It's like so funny.
The original or the whole series?
The original. I don't know about the rest of them, but I watched it just like a couple years ago again and like was laughing the entire time.
I need to rewatch that one. I only saw it in the theater when it came out.
I really recommend that you do.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And like unintentionally hilarious?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't even get it. It's just wildly hilarious. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, that could be another connection to this film because in addition to being, I think, really suspenseful and at times disturbing, Misery is also quite funny, I think. So that's something that carries over from Reiner's comedy work, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that before we watched it about it being really funny. And it was funny in a different way than I expected. Like all the quips that he makes when she's like being insane. He's just like so burnt out almost. He's just like, oh, this is great. And like, oh, a view. Or, it's like so funny. I was expecting her to be funnier because I remember aspects of her character that were funny.
Yeah.
Like how she doesn't swear and says other things instead that are like really silly.
Yeah, like cockadoodie.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about more.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Annie is funny, but yeah, she's funny like unintentionally, like we laughing at her. Whereas Paul Sheldon, part of what makes him likable is that he keeps his sense of humor throughout the whole ordeal.
Yeah, I have a note about that. It says, I said, his smartass remarks are the best part of this film. I love that he refuses to break. Like, even though she destroys, like, his body, basically, and, like, she destroys his work.
Yeah. And
he still refuses to, like, let her really win, Yeah,
that's a good point. Like, he's like bodily enfeebled for most of the runtime of the film, but she never really like gets in. She never like she thinks that she's made him change his mind and become convinced that killing Misery off was terrible and the new novel with its swear words is terrible, but that's totally not true at all. She never really convinces him of anything except for what a lunatic she is. That's like a
trope that happens in different movies is like the captor or the
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, like they trick their captor into thinking that they're like on the same page and that like oh I'm wrong, I'm sorry, yes, and like kind of like plays into their game and then the captor always buys it, like always.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Like obviously they're gonna pull this trick with you. Like step one, convince my captor that I have seen the error of my ways and now see things their way, and like they always fall for it. I mean, it usually blows up and goes wrong, but they do initially fall for it every time.
Yeah. Well, that's something I really like about this movie is like Annie Wilkes turns out to be like this amazingly complicated character where I feel like she has sort of levels to her delusion. Like on one level, she is trying to convince herself that Paul Sheldon is in love with her and that they're going to live happily ever after. He's going to write his new book just for her and so forth. And this is like the source of all her joy in life, right? Is this, thing that she's got going with Paul Sheldon. And on another level, she knows perfectly well that from his perspective, she's a lunatic and he's being kept hostage and he wants to get out. And she can sort of juggle those things at the same time. So she's paying attention to, he got out of his room and hides that information from him until much later in the film that she realized that he got out. She can be very duplicitous and sneaky as well, and sort of play along with the game in ways where she already knows that, he's lying or whatever. So I find that I don't know, her character and her unpredictability is really the source of a lot of the horror in the film and a lot of the suspense. Like, she has all these moments where I love. This is one thing I love about Kathy Bates' performance is that often when Sheldon says or does something that could possibly offend her, or it's a sort of gambit that he's making, her reaction begins with this just totally blank expression, and the camera just holds on her sort of blank expression for a beat, and then she'll either be like, oh, that's amazing, I love that, or she'll fly into a rage, and you never know which it's gonna be.
Yeah, totally. She's very unpredictable. And there's like that one scene where I feel like it's the only scene where she's like really herself. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't.
What scene?
The scene where it's like it's raining outside?
When she gets all depressed.
Yes. And I feel like that was like her real moment of like transparency. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when she just sort of says, the rain makes me feel all oogie. I have this gun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put bullets in it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And just walks out.
Right. It's like so ominous, but it's like maybe she doesn't even know what she's gonna do,
Yeah. So anyway, on the bonus features of the home video release, there's this featurette with a clinical psychologist analyzing the character, and she basically says this isn't really any kind of realistic depiction of a specific mental illness.
Yeah, I was
Instead,
gonna say,
she's got like every mental illness in the book.
Oh.
So she's manic depressive, she's like bipolar. That's that, right? Where she's like manic a lot of the time, and then when it rains and she gets really depressed, she's like suddenly has like no energy. Of course, she's also delusional. She's also a psychopath. She also is a serial killer, as we find out when he looks through her scrapbook and sees all the various victims that she's had in the past. So she kind of has like this laundry list of mental illnesses that probably a normal serial killers, like an actual person that you would encounter wouldn't have. It's like sort of whatever the script needs at that moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a knock against the film exactly.
You would have liked to have seen more consistency,
or more like a realistic depiction of a crazy killer. But like I said, I don't know if that's a problem with the film. Like, it's kind of neat that you can't predict what's going to happen with her from scene to scene. It's one of the things that I think saves the film from being boring. Like, a film where a character is stuck in the same room for most of the runtime, mostly by himself, could get boring. But this one I don't think ever does. There's always something happening.
Yeah, definitely. It's there's a lot of anxiety. There's so much anxiety. You desperately want to know what's going to happen next, which is actually really, like, that's incredible. Like you said, for a movie that takes place in like one room mostly, like, that's pretty remarkable to pull that off. But the music plays a lot in with that too, and I wrote that down. Like, that music is so intense, and it just like you hold your breath,
Yeah, the music by Mark Shaman, the composer, who, let's see, he also wrote the music for Hairspray. So, yeah, a lot of talented people on this, not just Rob Reiner and James Caan and Kathy Bates, but also the writer of the screenplay is William Goldman, who wrote a ton of classic movies, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, Princess Bride, which also Rob Reiner, so that's probably where they worked together before. So, yeah, a lot of things going right. I thought the music was good. It's a little overactive at times for my taste.
Maybe I'm just like really simple, and I need the music to tell me what's going on.
Yeah, maybe you're dumb.
You're an asshole.
But I mean, maybe I'm dumb too. I mean, and I'm just not getting it, because I do feel like this movie is, and this ties into the like over-exaggerated psychosis of Annie Wilkes. I think the film is sort of deliberately over the top in a lot of ways. Also with the sound design, It's almost cartoonish at certain moments. Like I notice this time watching that when Paul hides a butcher knife in his cast or his like under his sleeve, when he like pulls it out, he's like practicing pulling it out. It goes shink, even though like it's only touching cloth. Like when you rub a knife against cloth, it doesn't really do that. That's one of Roger Ebert's movie rules. He had a bunch of like rules of the movies, like how things are gonna work in movies that are different from real life. And one of them is that a knife, just by being on screen, can make a shink sound. It doesn't actually have to rub against some other metal object.
And his rule was that it shouldn't do that, or it has to do that?
I think his movie rules were just like humorous observations about things that happen in movies that aren't realistic, or
Got it.
Rules that are exclusive to storytelling on film. And another moment like that is at the very end, when James Caan and Kathy Bates have their drag out fight to the death, and he conks her over the head with like a metal pig statue. That's how he finally kills her. Oh, yeah. When it comes down on her head, it goes like like a clang noise.
Yeah, I think you pointed that out to me when we were watching it.
And again, hitting a human head with a metal thing in a cartoon will go, but in real life it probably won't.
No, probably not.
I mean, we could try it.
No, I'm good. I see where this is going.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are all sort of deliberate choices, and there is something sort of cartoonish about the film that's maybe part of the kind of levity that it sort of uses to prevent it from being just totally depressing and dark.
Yeah, because it's pretty dark.
Yeah. So yeah, anything that you didn't like about the film?
Yeah. I got pages. Okay. Why did Buster have to die?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing.
They pulled a Shining thing.
Yeah, so that's something I didn't mention in my little plot summary, right? Is that there's this B plot where that does allow us to sort of get out of the room.
The best part of the movie, by the way.
Okay, so we've got a local sheriff who becomes convinced that Paul Sheldon has not just wandered off and died in the woods, and that something sinister has happened, and he starts to track down clues, and he ultimately discovers where Sheldon is being held hostage, just in time to get shot in the back by Annie Wilkes.
What? This is such bullshit. See, the best character in this whole movie is the sheriff's wife.
Yeah, and she just kind of disappears from the story.
What? Like I was like, wait, like the credits came and I was like, no, but Virginia needs like closure. Like there should be like a whole sequel dedicated to like Virginia's revenge.
Well, but I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe they should go back to her, but then it would be like, no, that would be way too sad.
I mean, it would be sad, but I was hung up on it.
Because the ending of the film is still kind of lighthearted.
I know, but I needed it, and I was really focused. I was really invested in this B plot, as we're calling it. So you know how I get hung up on like dumb shit though. So like that's probably a me thing. But I just really, really loved their dynamic, and I felt robbed.
Yeah, those are really great supporting characters. They have great dialogue.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, they're really funny.
And like you get attached. They're so cute because they act like they're almost teenagers, their relationship. Yeah. The way that they play with each other. And like she acts like he's having an affair and everything, but they're like old people, so it's funny. Yeah. And like you get like it's wholesome,
Yeah. And that's another thing I like about the film is the sort of casting choices. I mean, I don't want to say the movie's like diverse since it's all white people.
Oh yeah.
But it's diverse in terms of not casting people who are traditionally like Hollywood beautiful, right? So we've got James Caan, who's like middle-aged. Kathy Bates is sort of a larger woman, and then you've got the other supporting characters are James Caan's agent,
Lauren
Bacall, who's older, and then the
a
sheriff.
fox though, like she fine.
Sure. And then we've got the sheriff and his
Uh-huh.
wife who are like in their 70s
Yeah.
at least. Yeah, really fun characters. And you know, when I first watched this, I think I had seen The Shining before, and there's a similar B plot in The Shining where
Yes.
the cook is, you know, somehow he's psychically aware that the characters trapped in the Overlook Hotel need rescuing.
He has The Shining as well.
Right,
I don't
yeah.
know if they really get into that in the movie.
No, they do.
They do?
He explains it to Danny. That's where the term The Shining comes into the film.
I
This
know,
is his
but
explanation.
I can't remember what's in the book and what's in the movie.
Okay, well, this is where I'm going.
Okay.
Is so he comes to rescue them, and then as soon as he gets in the door, he gets an axe in the back from Jack Nicholson's character. And so then when I saw Misery, it's like almost the same thing happens. You've got this character who's outside of the horror situation, who we're cutting back to him periodically as he figures out what's going on and then comes into the rescue and then instantly gets killed. But in both cases, the fact that he has found them allows for resolution of the plot, right? Because they use the cook, I don't remember his name, unfortunately.
I don't either.
They use his snow truck to get out because Jack Nicholson's character has gone and cut the wires on the truck that they would have used to escape. So it's only because he came that they're able to escape. And then similarly in this film, you know, there's like a ticking clock once she kills the cop because the people are going to come looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that sort of precipitates the final showdown between Annie and Paul. But so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so this is just what Stephen King always does. But then I read the novel of The Shining, and the cook character doesn't get killed in the book.
Right.
So I haven't read the book Misery. I don't know what happens in that, but it's just kind of a weird coincidence that the film has the exact same thing happen, but it apparently is not because Stephen King is like a hack and always writes the same story. It's just a coincidence.
Well, either way, it's frustrating. I'm frustrated.
I don't know. I think that's a strength of the film, though, that they
What?
kill that character off.
Why?
Because, well, unless you've
wrong
seen The
with you?
Shining, you don't expect that because we keep cutting. It's been such a big part of the story. You expect him to not suddenly get killed off, so it's shocking when it happens.
I mean, I guess shocking in like a really upsetting, like anticlimactic way, where you know, did what? Like,
I mean, it
it's
sets
just-
up the climax, right?
I guess.
I guess what you're saying is like you had as much or more emotional investment in
Yes.
him as you did in a hero.
Totally.
So then once
Maybe
he's killed,
more.
then you care less about the rest of the
Yeah,
story.
I was like, oh well, okay.
Yeah. So maybe they did like too good of a job of making those characters
you're like-
interesting. They should have been less interesting so that we would have been okay with seeing him get killed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make me care about them so much.
Okay. You got other stuff?
Things that I don't like.
Yeah, sure. Or other things you wanted to talk about?
I did sympathize with her for a minute, because like I get really attached to fictional stories, and like I told you something like this.
Yeah, we were
right?
talking about this.
Okay,
how
I don't want
sort
you to
of-
repeat what I said
Okay.
because it's very incriminating.
Okay.
But
I'll wait till you leave and then
no,
add it
I
in.
don't think so. Because like I get really invested in fictional stories, and I could. How do I put this without sounding like I need to be locked up? She's just so, into her stories, and she feels like she needs to control it now, because like she's got so much invested in it, because like her husband left her, right, and she's like this sad, lonely woman who pretty much only has the Misery novels. That's like her whole life. Like that's taken up all the space. So if she doesn't have this, like what does she have? Nothing. She has like nothing to live for. So there's a lot riding on that, right?
She also seems like she's has difficulty understanding that Misery is a fictional character and isn't real, so the things that happen to her in the book aren't really happening, right? So she gets mad at Sheldon when Misery dies. You know, she says, "You killed her. How could you kill her?" Well, he didn't kill anyone. Misery's a fictional character. So I think that might be one of the themes of the film, is like the dangers of being an author and how you can't really trust your audience to separate fact from fiction and not get too invested in the characters.
Well, I definitely know I can't be trusted to separate fact from fiction. I get real caught up.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways that that character is sympathetic, I think, to a lot of people.
You think it's not just me?
Yeah. I mean, another moment that I think is sympathetic is when Annie gets really worked up about the old movie serials that she used to watch as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And how there would be a cliffhanger ending, and then in the next week's show, they would resolve the plot by retconning something. So they would, you know, what was it? Rocket Man was strapped into the car and it went over the cliff. But then in the next week, at the beginning of the episode, he jumps out of the car at the last second before it went off the cliff, and she stands up in the theater and says, "That's not what happened last week." So I think a lot of people sort of feel the same way. They feel angry and cheated when something like that happens in fiction, where, you know, the writer basically has written himself into a corner and then cheats in order to get out of a bad situation or get the plot resolution that he wants. So that's a moment where maybe we're with her, although we're also laughing at her because of just how worked up she is still, and sort of she doesn't realize how ridiculous she's coming off.
I guess so. I understood.
Another thing I wanted to talk about is something that I noticed this time, is the theme of swearing, or the motif of swearing, sort of keeps coming up, and it seems like it's an important thing going on in the film. So we mentioned how Annie never swears, and she gets really agitated when she reads Paul Sheldon's new book where the characters swear. That's clearly like a sort of trigger for her madness. So I was thinking maybe this has to do with repression, right? The sort of psychoanalytic idea that by repressing her urges, she's sort of developed a neurosis. So we see that she doesn't swear, we see that she gets mad when it's in the book, and then at the end, when they have their battle to the death, she yells "cocksucker" at him. And so it's like it comes out in that moment.
Yeah.
Like she's that sort of wall of repression has broken down, and now it's just pure id. She's just like a pure animal. And so when you were saying earlier the scene where we see her true self, that was the scene that I was thinking of.
Where she says "cocksucker."
Yeah, where she shouts "cocksucker" at him and is trying to just beat him to death.
That's true. Yeah.
Because
you're right.
I think maybe that's part of the argument of the film. Is like maybe that's why she's so crazy, is that she has sort of repressed the real her under all of this other stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, we know she's super fake, especially in the beginning. Like, she plays really dumb on purpose, and she does a really good job.
Yeah. She's much smarter than she lets on. She's also super anal, though, right? Like, she's got the penguin in the room that always has to face due north, or whichever direction it was.
Yes.
And that's another thing I like about the film, is like the mise en scène is not at all traditional horror movie, horror lighting. It's very bright and colorful, and the room is, sort of idyllic looking, even though it's a space of terror for the character. So yeah, she keeps a nice home. Everything is in its right place. She has her happy scrapbook where she, puts in newspaper clippings and writes.
It says like Memory Lane on the cover, but it's full of like horrors. So
right, which is like a metaphor for her whole character.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, the swear words that she doesn't like are things like fuck and bastard and cocksucker.
Oh yeah,
right.
She got mad at bastard.
Yeah, and so those are all like sexual curse words, And I
Bastard
thought,
is a sexual curse word?
sure.
I thought it was just like illegitimate child.
Yeah, so someone who was conceived out of wedlock
okay. Well,
is a
it's
bastard.
pretty far removed, but okay.
Well,
I'll
maybe
allow
it's
it.
a little bit of a reach, but I guess what I'm saying is I feel like there's a sort of undercurrent of repressed sexuality to her character and her whole relationship to Sheldon. Because I mean, that's one component of, real life cases of abduction like this, is there's often a sexual component to it, and it's there in the film. She says that she's in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the sort of menace of rape or sexual assault there, but it's never really addressed. It never really comes up where she, propositions him or threatens him with sex or anything like that overtly. But I think in that final battle, you could sort of see it come out. It's almost like a sex scene, the way that they're all on top of each other, and then at the end they're just sort of like lying there next to each other, all completely spent. There's a sort of sexual dynamic to that scene, I think.
Okay.
That
maybe you're just a weirdo pervert.
It could be. But, they could both be true. I could be a weird pervert and just happen to be right as well.
True. That is true.
Okay, so another thing that I was thinking as I was watching it this time is that in order to defeat Annie in the end and win the movie, Paul has to sort of finally, in a way, give in to her, right? He has to give her what she wants. He has to promise her that he'll finish the book and have dinner with her, and they'll be live happily ever after, whatever. He has to sort of play into her delusion, and in a way that he couldn't at the beginning because he didn't understand the rules of the delusion. What it is that she's expecting out of him, what it is that's going to sort of, make her light up and go into happy mode and not foresee that he's about to try to kill her. And I thought that's kind of an interesting plot similarity to a lot of other horror movies. Like, often in supernatural movies, that's sort of the journey that the protagonist has to go on. Like, at the beginning of a movie, like The Changeling, the hero is beset by supernatural events, haunting type stuff, and he has to find out what does the ghost want, like what is the logic behind all this paranormal stuff. And then he discovers that it's the ghost of a child who was murdered, and once he can find out who caused this murder and bring the murderer to justice and put the body to rest, rebury the body, then the hauntings go away. And so something like that happens in a lot of horror movies, I think, where you have to sort of learn about whatever the scary thing is and understand the sort of logic underlying this seemingly random or insane behavior in order to fix it. So I don't know, did you have any thoughts about that?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how to put that into the form of a question exactly, but it just seems like something that you see a lot in horror movies. Like, it sort of maybe speaks to the point of the horror genre. It's supposed to make us uneasy and scared, but at the end, it also kind of reassures us that the things that seem to be totally beyond our control or understanding, we can eventually get a leg up on them and get the upper hand through just learning about them.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty deep.
We never talked about, like, the really disturbing sequence where she hobbles him.
See, I was going to say, like, do we just not want to talk about that? Because...
I mean, I don't know what to say other than it's a great sequence.
It's just horrifying.
Yeah.
But it's iconic.
Yeah.
And you cringed for like a full 5 minutes while you were watching it. Like, I've never seen you cringe that long.
Yes, I can watch a lot of gory stuff and not be bothered, but there's something about... I mean, there's no blood. Maybe if, like, a big fountain of blood spurted out, I would be fine. But the fact that we don't see blood, we just get that very quick shot where we just see the foot go completely the wrong way.
It's very realistic.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects to it that are just haunting. the sounds.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there's certain ways of like orchestrating your on-screen violence where, there's a lot of ways of doing it where the audience just sits there and chews their popcorn and doesn't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are certain ways of doing it where, like, as an audience member, you just can't help but think like, I have feet. I wonder what it would feel like if one of my feet went the wrong way.
Or both of them.
Yeah.
Also, Moonlight Sonata. It's a very eerie song. You don't think so?
No, I think of it as like a melancholic song.
Well, I think
but not
it's
as
eerie, and I think the fact that it didn't fit at all was like it added to the like creepy factor.
Yeah, so in that scene, we hear Moonlight Sonata
Jesus
playing.
Christ,
and it's it's not as obvious of an example of this as some other films, but there are a lot of like horror movies or really dark suspense movies that'll use this. It's almost like a trope where you have like really jarring music choice. So I'm thinking of like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. There's a scene in like a torture dungeon where the villain puts on Enya's Sail Away. So while he's torturing somebody, we're hearing this like extremely calm, peaceful, happy music. There's other examples.
Oh yeah, like American Psycho.
Right. Yeah. What is that? Huey Lewis in the News.
Huey Lewis in the News. Also Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
I mean, those are like really, really, really dramatic examples.
Yeah.
Those
so
are
this
like
is a
blatant.
little more toned down,
Yes.
but maybe a similar kind of effect.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for this episode of Cinematicon Ex Mortis. So join us next time when we'll be looking at White Zombie from 1932 with Bela Lugosi. That should be fun.
Mm-hmm. Am I supposed to say something?
I guess not.
Okay.
I thought you might say something.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm clear.
I guess that's everything.
All right.
So I'll see if I can edit something out of that.